Welcome to the Girl Power Alliance podcast, where you're going to meet and hear from some inspiring women with incredible stories who are leading in business and in faith. We are on a mission to impact the world by empowering women to dream bigger through kingdom-minded mentoring and leadership. This is where women grow.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Girl Power Alliance podcast. I'm your host, Molly Trotter Gomez, a growth strategist here at GPA. I am so excited for our guest that's going to be coming on today, Jen Conrad. She is a branding strategist and a website designer. She has incredible work. But today's topic, and she's going to flow right into it with her story, I can already feel it, is from push to pivot to purpose. Push to pivot to purpose. And Jen had to do that very purposefully to really get into her purpose and what she's doing right now. And she has an absolute beautiful story to share. So get out your pen, get out your paper. You're going to want notes for this, especially if you're in that season of, you know what, I think I'm going to have a pivot. Maybe you're right in the middle of it, or maybe you've already gone through it. Regardless, you're not alone. And so Jen, so excited to have you here. Love to be able to share, have you share a little bit of your background and then dive into your pivot that you had to make.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Molly, for having me. And we've been able to connect, and I am just so excited just to share with your audience today. So yes, I'm Jen Conrad. I'm in small town, Illinois, in a town of 1,200 people. I am married to my high school sweetheart of almost 25 years in April. He is a U.S. Marine, and we have 5 kids. So we have 3 biological, and we have 2 who we are fighting to get home from Africa. And so I have been in the online business space for over 8 years. And I thought I found my home. I thought I found the thing that was just going to carry us into retirement until after we actually adopted our kiddos in January of 2020. COVID hit, and I actually lost that business that of 6.5 years that I thought, gosh, was going to take us through all the things that allowed me to retire my husband from law enforcement, that led me to start doing ministry work over in Africa, and to really start the adoption process. I immediately had to decide how I was going to pivot in a time of crisis. And when our world felt like it was falling apart, when we all had no idea what was next or what we were going to do from day to day. And I was the primary breadwinner. And I had to move quickly. I had to mourn the loss of that business, but I also had kids to bring home, kids at home still, a kid going to college, and I had to put on my bootstraps and I had to go to work. And I had to really look at what was I good at? What were people coming to me for advice already that I could monetize, that I could help other women also maybe going through a pivot, and really show them how they can use their pain and their story and the things they're working through as really part of their personal brand, as a way to attract people to them so that people can say, yeah, me too. That's me. I see myself in your story. And so, long story short, really, I just decided, okay, I'm going to help women. I'm going to help women get clarity on their brands. And so I hired 2 coaches, one for my own branding, one for my mindset, and I went to work. And I just started booking clients, and I started doing one-on-one coaching. And then from that, as we were developing and peeling back the layers of these personal brands and we were monetizing them, I had clients say, gosh, I need a website. And I had always just, as a hobby, done websites, and I had done some for friends and for family. And I saw that, you know what, the world was changing with COVID, but it was also changing with social media and the censorship that people were facing, and their content wasn't getting out there. And myself, I was locked out of Facebook for 30 days because somebody hacked my account, and I grew my business and my brand using social media. And so I just decided, gosh, you know what? Women need a place that they own. They need a place that people can go and they can clearly see their brand story. They can get to know the person. They can fall in love with the person and immediately go and hire or buy the course or buy the coaching program, and stop messing around with like having to do all the things on social media. And so that really has been my pivot from, I still do brand consulting and coaching, but the majority of what I do is really helping women to monetize themselves and how to create an online platform that really starts attracting people to them, that they own, that they don't have to worry about going away tomorrow. And so, yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
I love that. And there's so many points that we can knock down on this. And it's absolutely incredible. And the number one, the one that really sticks out to me is you had to pivot and you still had to mourn the loss of your old business, because it doesn't matter if you built the business yourself, if you're working for somebody else and that got taken from you, or it's time to let go or got fired or whatever that may be. Like there's still a lot of, sweat equity that has gone into that, a lot of time spent, a lot of energy spent. And so I love that you mentioned that. You're like, I still had to mourn my business because it still hurt. I'm not just going to run over that like it didn't hurt, like it wasn't hard. But you said, you know what? I'm the breadwinner. I got to figure this out. And the second piece I want to key on is that you weren't afraid to go ask for help to get those resources to expedite that process. That's the whole reason why the consulting and coaching industry has grown as it has over the last 18 months, almost 2 years now, is because there's so many people being like, I don't know, the world's giving me this new flavor and I don't know what to do with this flavor and I don't like it. What do I do? Instead of figuring it out on your own and taking twice, 3 times, 5 times as long, there's people out there like Jen that can help you get those results faster, or other coaches or other consultants. So I love the fact that you said, you know what, in most people's minds, I may not have the money to do this. I can justify as to why not. But you said, I'm going to not hire one, but 2, I'd love to hear your thought process behind that, because that is huge. That's a very mature and hey, very sound decision.
Yeah. So, you know what? I was one of those business entrepreneurs that really was self-taught in all the things. I spent all the time trying to learn how to do the website and how to do the funnels and write copy and monetize and all the things. And I didn't have time to spare. I could have figured out all the things, but I needed someone to drive that ship, to keep me on target, that I could bounce ideas off of so that I would keep moving, because I didn't have time to waste. My last paycheck was coming in and I needed to do it. And I think the difference is that I've learned that the things that I do, my website or coaching or consulting, that's an investment. That's not an expense. That's an investment in my business. That's also something that I get to, write off at the end of the year, but it's something that's to help me move the needle forward. And I knew that if I didn't do that, I was probably going to be in bed with the covers over my head, mourning that loss and not taking action. And so I had to have somebody in my corner that was like, okay, you're going to come back to me after you have this done. Okay, we're going to work on this. And so then I kept the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And you saw that, you said, okay, I'm not going to wait to be reactive. I need to be proactive, and I need somebody that can hold me accountable to really getting these things done in a proven process that works, which is so key. So I love that you did that, because it really showed just taking the journey seriously. There's a lot of women that may be listening to this being like, wow, Jen is so brave. I don't know if I could do that. The thing is that you can. And Jen, the whole title to this is, push to pivot to purpose. You had that push, you had that okay, I don't know where this is going to go. So I had to pivot, and you had to pivot quickly. And, being able to move quickly is absolutely key. So talk about that quick pivot that you made, whether it's from the coaches that you hired, if there's anything else that kind of comes to mind. Love to hear of just how you were able to pivot so quickly, because it sounds like it was pretty fast because you had to. You have a family that was depending on you being the breadwinner. And that's not everybody that listens to this podcast, but it just shows the strength that you have. So I'd love to hear, more of the pivot to the purpose part, how that was for you and that process.
Yeah. So, it really was a matter of survival. I had stacks of bills to pay and kids to feed. And so it was like, okay, if I don't show up, if I don't win, who is going to suffer? And it's going to be my family. It's going to be my kids in Africa that we're still fighting to get home. I still have adoption bills. I'm still paying lawyer fees, and the fact that we just decided, you know what? this is just a bump in the road. This is just something that's taking us to the next step. And I really, truly, as I look back, it was honestly a blessing because I was feeling that nudge to pivot and to move, and I was kind of disobeying it. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes God picks you up right where you are and says, okay, now we're going to do it my way. And so, I've learned in the journey of adoption that, I don't get to control anything. I have to rely on him for everything, down to the adoption bill, to the timeline, to all the things. And that's the same thing with my business, is that I just felt in my heart that there was a reason that God put me in the business center. I am a former teacher. I have a master's degree in social work. I thought I was going to be a therapist and work with veterans and work with military wives, which I love. But what I love more is giving women options, giving women the ability to just say, you know what, I have a sick kiddo at home and I can work from home alongside them, and I don't have to worry where the next paycheck's going to come. I got to stay home the whole time with my 10-year-old son, as he was a baby. And now, he's a middle schooler, and COVID and all the things. I didn't have to think twice about juggling him. I was able to give my husband breathing room after serving so many times overseas. We figured, and we've done 6 deployments during our marriage, and 4 of those were Iraq and Afghanistan. Wow. And I was able to, bring him home and give him a sense of like his family back. And so I started looking. I'm not going to lie that from time to time I would go and look for jobs, and then I would realize my value, and I would realize what people were paying to work with me. And I was standing firm in that value. And I realized I would never be happy because I would just be maybe paying some of the bills, probably not even all the bills. And I would be longing for that business that I wanted to really grow. And so I had to really decide, okay, what do I want? I spent a lot of time in prayer and a lot of time in journaling and a lot of time just really, because I didn't take the time to really think about, what do I really want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I feel like God's calling me to? And I believe that, we're given businesses as a gift. If I didn't have that first business, I never would have met my kids. I never would have even entered the adoption realm. My heart would never have been changed for orphans and for ministry work over there in Western Africa. I wouldn't have been able to even have that choice of bringing my husband home. And I believe that, right now, when so many people are having to make choices, like this is a time of major, I just feel like women have so many tools at their fingertips that we didn't have even, 6-8 years ago. We have the ability to hire people virtually. We have the ability to, start businesses from our phones. We have the ability to, work smarter and not harder and create passive streams of income so we can be more present for our families. And so the thing is that I feel like what I've learned on this journey is that you don't have to have the degree in something. I don't have a degree in web development, but what I do have is I have the story of how I did it myself, how I, just took the next right step, and I'm teaching out loud the things that I've learned. And so, we have talked before that so many women just wait until everything's perfect. And I think what the beauty is the things that really come from that mess, that come from just taking messy action and just showing up. And that's where your true calling comes from. That's where, people connect with you. We are so tired of perfection. I can't stand to even scroll on social media because everyone has the perfect house and kids and hair, and everyone looks the same. And, we're hungry for more realness right now. And I really, really think that that's, if more women just understand that they have the ability to monetize themselves. They have the ability to make that pivot, make that shift. Is it going to be easy? No, but it's going to be worth it by just, deciding that, what, enough is enough and I deserve more. So
yeah, God's not waiting to give you a piece of paper to say, okay, here's your degree, go do X. He's going to be like, I want you to go do what I've called you to do. And you're only going to know that when you spend time with me and you really understand what your purpose is, what your calling is. And then you commit to that. I'm the same. I'm the absolute same with what I get to do now. Like, I mean, sure, I have a degree in journalism and I was a TV news anchor and a reporter back in the day. And now I get to help people get their, bold, authentic, clear, just real voice online. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of business pieces that come into that. And it's from experience. I much rather go with somebody who has experience and results in actually doing than a piece of paper that says, hey, this is what I'm expected to do and what I've been quote unquote trained to do. I always like to take it back to when you go to the gym and you see overweight trainers, just to be honest with you, like that, or a trainer outside smoking a cigarette or just like whatever. I mean, we all have our flaws, don't get me wrong, but like you need to practice what you preach and you need to be, it's like, if you went to a dentist that had really messed up teeth, you're going to be like, nah, I'm good. We're good. You want to be able to have that experience. You don't necessarily need the piece of paper that tells you what's going on. So that's where people really will resonate with you, Jen, because it's like, look, this is my real story. You can take it from somebody over here who has the paper. You can take it from me. And this is exactly how I did it. This is how I can walk you through it. And like you said, people are tired of the perfection. So it's like, I want to be able to relate to somebody. I want to have a real story, somebody I can really connect with. And your story is all of that. That's why we wanted to bring you on the podcast. I mean, gosh, you're a heart for adopting 2 children. And you said the adoption process started in January of 2020. So almost.
Sorry. No, we finalized our adoption in court in January of 2020. Oh, wow. And so they've been in our lives for 5.5 years. So it's been a very, very long process.
Yeah, exactly. To that point, super long.
Yeah.
Super long. And it's like, and you're doing whatever it is that you can do because these children are meant to be in your lives. They may not be yours biologically, but that doesn't matter. That's what you're called to. And I think that just is a huge testament to who you guys are as a family. And I absolutely love that. But if you guys are really catching this, like Jen basically was like, look, I have a decision to make and I need to make it quickly. If I want my husband to be able to have some relief, if I want to be able to bring these kids home from Africa, you have other kids that are at home currently right now, be able to provide for your family because you wanted a different life for yourself and really be proud of the work that you're doing. That's the pivot that she made. And now she's in her purpose. And you could just tell whether you're watching the video on YouTube, whether you're listening on the podcast, wherever you're watching this or listening to it, she just has that like unwavering belief. And that's the thing is when we make those jumps and make those pivots, that like there's a reason why we need faith, because if God just said, okay, here you go, here's all the answers, like that's not life at all. Being able to have that faith and trust in him, being like, all right, Lord, I know you're calling me to do this. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to have faith and know that it's going to work out the way that you want it to. It's scary, but I've done it. Obviously Jen has done it, and being able to have her on the show and share that, you can do it too. So Jen, as we're wrapping this up, is there anything that you would love to share with the ladies that are listening? Just any words of encouragement or any final thoughts that you have? Because pivoting is tough. We come on here being like, oh yeah, it's great, hindsight, but it was tough when you were in it. So anything else that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, being a woman of faith, getting back and getting right into the Bible and, not being afraid to hash it out with the Lord. And, I've learned his shoulders are big and there are times I'm swinging my hands up in the air at him and I'm asking why. But what I've learned is that there's always enough. There's always the next right client coming, and that he's waiting to take the wheel in our business. And I think so often, and in my first go around, like I tried to control all the things. We grew up in a time when it was be self-made and all your success was dependent on your actions. And I think as women of faith, we have to get back into inviting the Lord to like direct our steps and let him be our business partner. And, I think that's the times when I feel the most at peace with my business and where it's going is when I know that I don't have to do it on my own, just like I don't have to do life on my own. And because we're not supposed to. And so I would just say that if you feel that push, explore it, surround yourself with women of faith, reach out to a coach that can help you unpack, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you have on your heart, because that is going to be the fastest way for you to turn that vision, that hope, that dream into something that you can monetize. And now truly is the time. Everybody is looking, to pivot online, to do something that they have complete control over. And so maybe you've been in, a company that's run by someone else and you're like, you know what? I have the skills. I know what it's like to build in the trenches, but I'm ready to find success on something that I completely can control. And so I just want to encourage you that, don't stop, keep going. You don't have to have it all figured out. And it's literally just like, what's the next right step? The next right step, and just keep moving. And that's going to help you get to where you need to go.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, when you trust God with everything that you have, and I know we say like, yes, we do, but when times get tough, we really see where our trust and where our faith lies. And there's always room for growth, and I constantly pray, I'm like, Lord, I never want to limit you with my, small thinking or safe living, like increase my faith in you and everything that you give to me, because we do that in our own minds. We're just like, well, God's a God of abundance, but I could settle for this. He doesn't want you to settle. He wants to be able to give you abundance. And I want to end with this, because when I heard this, it absolutely changed my life. And it's a really good tie up for the end of this show, is that God wants you to have freedom. Freedom to God is like one of the number one things he wants to give to you. If it wasn't so important to him, then why would he have sent and sacrificed his own son? As for our freedom, he sacrificed his son. His son came and died for our sins. And that is the ultimate price. So why wouldn't you think he wants to have freedom for you in other areas of your life? Financially, peace, relationally, all those types of things. There's so much that's poured into it, but just know that abundance is something that God really wants to give to you, and you can have that. And it is going to be scary when you make those pivots, but on the other side, it's going to feel so much more joyful, at peace, and you're going to feel that you're really in your purpose. And that's why we're so grateful that you came on this show today, Jen, and you just shared it so beautifully on what you've gone through and just how other women can be encouraged by, their push that they're feeling, or maybe they're right in the middle of the pivot, or maybe they're in their purpose right now. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
What an awesome podcast with both Jen and Molly. Thank you both for sharing that powerful, powerful podcast. And if you're listening to this, you have not already joined all of the amazing things that we're doing here inside of the Girl Power Alliance membership, you need to go check it out. Head over to girlpoweralliance.com and check out our ambassador program, Ambassador Elite, the membership, Radiant Leadership Academy, which has already started. You have another chance at the end of the summer in August. We're going to round that up again and get started with the second class of 2022. And we have Activate that is coming up in just a few short months. We still have vendor booths available. If you would like to showcase your business, your services, your products with 1,500 other amazing women that love the Lord and are coming together to grow and fellowship and really activate something really incredible, which is what the Lord has promised us. You can go to activatewomen.live and check out all of the details, the hotel, the speakers, our entertainment, our charity auction, and so many other amazing things that are going to be happening at this event. It's in Dallas, Texas, April 7th through the 9th. And let me tell you something. If you even have an inkling that you're supposed to be there, you're supposed to be there. Get yourself there. Let me tell you, the enemy wants nothing more than for you to go, no, it's not the time. The time is now. This is our time. God has promised us a new thing in 2022, and the only way to do that is to actually take action steps. So get your ticket before we sell out, get your vendor booth before those are gone, and join us in Dallas, Texas this year for what I know is going to be an absolutely life-changing, kingdom-shaking event. See you next time.